Okay. Always is about the vocabulary.
For example, sabgir,
What?
sabgir,
What does it mean? Huh?
vegetables,
Sabzi?
sabzir,
Sab
sabzir.
Sabzi?
Sorry.
Uh,
With R.
no, they don't have any R. Sabzi. Yeah.
Not R.
No. Sabzi. Yeah.
Zonun. Zonun.
Zonu. Yeah.
Thank you.
Let's go up. Like Zanu.
Zare. Zare.
Zere?
Zare.
Mean the soldiers wear it?
Yeah.
Zere. Yeah.
Zare.
Why they should teach you about the zere? There's lots and other vocabulary to talk about.
Verbos, lebose, zerezan, imponat.
Sarbaz, lebase,
Zere, zan,
zere betan
imponat.
mikonat. Lebas, it doesn't need this lebas. It doesn't need it. You can just say zere and get rid of the lebas. Just like it is correct. It's not grammatically wrong, but it's just like repeating something again. For example, in English, let's discuss, right? Discuss. It just means, what does it mean, discuss? To talk about, right? So we can just, if someone says this, discuss, to talk, something like that means like repeating, but in different meaning. So it's better just get rid of the lebas. Yeah, just get rid of it. Time to start. Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Thankfully, we have done so many sessions so far, and now we are here about Islamic thought. Do you have any question about it? Any questions so far? You don't have any question, right? How are you? No, okay. Do you have any questions so far? Okay. So we have done so many Islamic thoughts, and we're going to do about the prophethood for today, Nabuwwat. Because I hope we can finish it in 2 sessions, so I just limited our discussion for today. It's like a very short discussion for today, and I hope it will be very short again for tomorrow, because Nabuwwat is quite tough and it's a long article, if what we want to say, topic in the Usul al-Aqaid. So we just I short the topic to make it a bit understandable and easy to go, because we want to finish it quickly. We just left, I think, 4 or 5 sessions. Yeah, I think, yeah, 4 or 5 sessions left. So we have the Nabuwwat, we have the Imamat, and the Ma'at. 3 topic and 4 or 5 sessions left. But for today, we're going to talk about in general, that why we should need the prophet and what is the prophethood. And for the next session, we will talk about a little bit about the prophet's attributes and who should be a prophet. I think this is not enough, because there are many other books, many other things to talk about, but because of our limitation, we have no choice to finish it. Our topics. Before that, because it's the passing of Imam Khomeini, one of the great thing about Imam Khomeini was he was a patient person. Because we want to talk about the Prophet, I wanted to say something, it's related. As we know, Prophet said, I was sent to complete the morality. Or we can translate it in other ways, as you wish. But the fact is, what is the greatest thing in morality? We can just see the perfect one is being patient. Being patient is the greatest, highest level of morality. No one can reach it unless they have a very big soul, a great heart, a gold heart. You might see when the Imam Khomeini became a supreme leader, they murdered his president, like the president of the time of Iran. They murdered the prime minister. They murdered the head justice minister. They murdered many people. Many of the governments, many of the people, like in the time, 17,000 people were killed by a terrorist people in Iran at that time. 17,000 people. After that, during that, they had a war between Iraq and Iran. Iraq invaded Iran. If you see that this situation, you will find it very difficult to handle it. His son was, he had a problem with many people. It was quite tough time for each person, a human being. You will see that nowadays, even one person who lost something, like even a phone or something not very important, they will be patientless. They won't have any patience. But the most important thing is to being a patient person and patient human being. Even if you're losing everything, it's very tough. It is very tough, but it is a fact of the Islam. I'm not saying that I can do it, I can handle it. No, I'm not able. If I could, I would be another person. But you will see it during the time of the prophets. You see, even the prophet was very patient with the people. Imagine you are knowledgeable in what, for example, any other topics, physics. I don't know many things about physics. I just know atom, molecules, some very small things. Make me lower, someone who doesn't know even about atoms. For example, me, I don't know anything. Now I want to talk to you about the physics. You are the 100, I'm the -1. What will you feel about it? You would never discuss with me, right? You would say he's saying nonsense. I would not waste my time. I will not humiliate myself to discuss with him. What I would do, just ignore you. But this wasn't the prophet. He didn't ignore anyone, even though that the other people were not able to understand what is he saying or what is he meant to do. He's being a patient person. Explaining about the metaphysics to a kid or something like that. Look, what can that kids understand it? No. Like the Amir al-Mu'minin said, came to the member and wanted to say, "Tas'aluni qabla an tafaqaduni." Ask me before you lose me. And someone stood up and said, "How many hairs does my goat have?" You're talking to these people. You have to be patient. So being patient is the greatest thing, not being angry so quickly. You might see it a lot in you're around, like your families, your friends, but they might be very quickly, they become angry and do not see the other side of the life, other side of the things happening around them. So being a patient is the greatest thing in morality. If you want something, you have to be patient. Being patient, one of the ways of being patient is being silent. When someone is debating you for no reason, you have to be silent. When someone is insulting, sometimes you have to be silent. Why should you respond? For what reason? What is it to sum up with? You see, what is the reason for that? And what will you achieve by that? Now I'm talking to you. Am I going to reach, achieve, get something or not? Doesn't have anything for me. If I insult you, is it going to have anything for me or not? You have to see this. You have to calculate it. Is it okay if I talk or not? For example, another person that you might have heard of it, they call him like Ayatollah Qazi Tabatabai. Not the Allama Tabatabai, someone else. He was the teacher of Allama Tabatabai in Irfan and philosophy and other things. He said, I was praying, the all prayings, the salat, the azkar, on everything for 40 years. For 40 years, and I didn't see anything. Not even one sign that I'm doing it right. Praying in Najaf, praying in Karbala, doing the azkar, being careful about myself for 40 years. Before that, I was studying. Even during the praying, I was studying as well, but I didn't see anything. He said one day, in that, when was 40 years after that, someone came to me that we all thought that that person is insane, is mad. He wasn't very looking good, looking wise. It was something like, looks like stupid. But he came to me and said, everything nowadays is something, I don't want to mention it right now. It's a long story. And he said, okay, I ignored him for what he said. He said, I went to the holy shrine of Hazrat Abbas. And when I said, Assalamu alayka ayyuhal abdus salih, I saw many things circling around me. And the other place is not stable. He said, I just closed the door and I went back home. Because he said, I was so scared because I saw the wall is not stable. He said, I went back home. When I wanted to sleep, I couldn't sleep. I was seeing many other things. I was looking at the sky. It wasn't a sky. After 40 years, it happens. This is very important. He didn't give up. He didn't say, oh, it's enough for me. For 40 years, he didn't see any sign. But after that, he saw it. This is the fact of being patient. Like we have another riwayah of Amir al-Mu'minin. It says, the stupid person is who pray 2 rak'at and expecting to see the malaika. This is stupid, ahmaq, in the riwayah. This someone who's praying 2 rak'at and is expecting to see the malaika. For 40 years, being patient. We have another, there are stories about even the Ayatollah Ghazi Tabatabai that says that when the students wanted to ask him the questions, he would usually says, I don't know. I have no idea. Go search by yourself. It was like this. Just saying, I can't understand you, or I can't bring you the answer. Someone was like saying all this. He said one time, that student said, one time we went to Ayatollah Ghazi Tabatabai that why are you always ignoring people and usually do not answer, usually, not always. Usually you don't answer people. Ayatollah Ghazi Tabatabai said, because it was nonsense. I want to be silent. So I just tell them to not go away. Because most of the question that they ask is easy to find it. Sometimes they're looking for something, they want something from me, they're expecting me. Sometimes I'm not sure about what I should say. So I stopped it. I didn't say anything. Being silent. And another thing to being a great one is to make yourself everything for God. Even though Ayatollah Ghazi Tabatabai says, one time I wanted to go to a station. It was a religious station that I had to speak about some another religion. Here I went there. I was in the middle of the way. Then I found that I'm not going for the God. A little bit, I'm going it for myself. I see myself. He said, I just stopped over there and I went back home because I wasn't seeing only the God, I was seeing even myself. So when you go to the Imam Khomeini's as well, you will see he wasn't scared of anything. There was intelligence who kidnapped Imam Khomeini to kill him. There is a lake between the Qom and Tehran, the capital and the Qom city. They took Imam Khomeini with the helicopter above that lake to throw him down and to kill him. He said Imam Khomeini was like, the person was telling the story, saying everyone was scared that what was going to happen with killing the greatest leader of the Iranian people, and what will be next? Will he even die? They were scared. But usually they have done that before. The helicopter was around to arrive the lake, above the lake. The people, the intelligence, they said, we saw that Imam Khomeini is very confident. He's just sitting, saying nothing, just doing the azkar, and no anger, no anxiety, nothing. It's all being patient. Someone was very angry and so nervous about what is going to happen. He said to Imam Khomeini that, would you like to have a cup of tea? And Imam Khomeini said, yeah, that would be great if you bring a cup of tea for me. At that moment, he's looking to say, yeah, bring me a cup of tea. It is a great being patient. Even though that you know you're going to die at that moment, but bring me a tea. It's being patient and seeing yourself nothing and just say everything is God. And all I'm doing is for God. They played one of Imam Khomeini's speech down. So I think that even they translated that he was saying, if you're doing it for God, what makes you to scare off? What is going to scare you? Is it going to die? That's the shahadat. So why are you scared? This is his speech. If it's going to be tortured, this is for God. You're going to jail, it's for God. If you're going to be failed, it was for God. What you are scared of? This was his speech, that he wasn't even scared of anyone. The first person in this world that insulted United States was Imam Khomeini. I don't care about you, who you are. Even the Soviet Union, they never insulted the United States. Even the China. The other countries that are against United States never insulted United States. It was the first person with no army, with no support, with no one, just insulted the United States because he was saying, all I'm saying is God. If I die, if I be killed, that will be all right for me. If I be alive, if I go to jail, that will be all right for me. If they torture me, that's okay for me. This is the highest level of morality. When you see everything is God, like the story of Majnun and Layli that I mentioned before, that Majnun was crossing a city, and so that people saw that Majnun is kissing the walls, is just handing the walls, and just like with the walls. They came to him, are you mad? What are you just kissing the walls? Why are you making love with the walls? He said, أمر على الديار ديار ليلي وقبل ذا الجدار والزلجدار وما حب الديار شغفنا قلبي. I just crossing a city that Layli was inside this place. I'm not happy with the walls. I'm not happy with the city. Just getting close to each walls, and my heart has become so satisfied, so happy because of the Layli. It is not about a city that makes me happy. But it is for someone who lived in this place. Who is up? It was Layli. I love it because of him, because of her. So that was the greatest level. When you see the God, when you see it in every part of your life, you will be patient. You will be silent, because the world become nothing for you. This is the greatest level in each prophet, that saying no one. If you go to the prophet, there will be leveling, they will be leveled as someone who had seen only the God. The greatest one would become the Prophet of Islam, Prophet Muhammad. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. He was saying no one except the God. In any of part of his life, only was the God. He will come a level down with the other prophets. When you're doing it everything, when you're listening, when you have to be angry, it will be at the time that God would say it to you to be angry. You see that even all other prophets have complained about their nations, their ummats, except the Prophet Muhammad. He never complained. All he wanted was being patient, and the people go to the God and reach the God. Being patient, the morality, being silent, seeing everything as a God. I don't mean that the world is God. I mean, see it as a sign of the God. It means that you have reached the greatest level of morality. And that was the purpose of prophethood, the Nabuwwat. The purpose of Nabuwwat is seeing everything as a sign of God, seeing everything that you doing it just for God. I make money because I want to feed my family. I wanted to help other people. I want to build myself to help other people. This is a great niyat. I want to go, for example, exercise because I want to be strong, to live longer, and maybe like pray more. Say it like these ways. I'm doing other things. To see it as a God is the greatest thing and make you success. It brings you the success. Like nobody could change nowadays, even if you see it's not easy to change a country, bringing a revolution that you had before. Never happened, except the France revolution many years ago. What do you see with the support of all the countries, the Western and the Eastern countries, Imam Khomeini was succeed. Why? Because he was seeing no one except the God. Not even relying on humans, other humans. If these humans, it will be here and helping my revolution, that will be okay. If it's dead, that will be okay too. This is the greatest level. Even if you see this will become, when you see only the God, that will become your habit. Why I say it? When Imam Khomeini was in his bed, one of the things that he was taking care of was this praying. All he was saying, reading the Quran, praying, helping him to pray, this becomes a habit that you see no one as a God. You, all I desire, all I want is the God. Even a few seconds before I die. Okay, let's go back to our prophethood, Islamic thought that we just got the purpose of the prophethood, that was being the morality of Islam, because it's related to our topic, so I brought it up. Okay. Our need of divine leaders, the limitation of our knowledge. So we all know that our knowledge is limited. Even like you might say, even with this knowledge that we have, the scientists and everything that we have, is it also still limited? Yes, still limited. All knowledge that we have discovered so far, all of it, in every topic, it's just like ABC in a great book. It's just letters with not a word. Like, you know, that we have a riwayat of Imam Sadiq that when the Imam Zaman it will come, there will be other doors of 27 doors will be open. 27 of knowledge doors will be open. So even what, like, all you see that we have discovered yet, we have created yet, we have innovated yet, it's all become nothing, included compared to the knowledge, the real knowledge. We still don't know anything about the moon. It's the closest to the earth. How about the Mars? We don't know. Do we know anything about the sun? A little bit. Anything about even our earth, our world? Not really. The deep oceans, no knowledge. So when we go through that, we will see we don't have any knowledge. Our knowledge is quite limited. In the first case, we do not need the prophets, and as the second, we cannot accept something which goes against our intellect and wisdom. So why we say we don't need any prophets? That will become because we think that our knowledge is not limited. For example, I would never ask for someone to help me in the Persian language because I think I'm the greatest one. So I would never look or ask for anyone to help me with the Persian because I can understand it. It's my own language. So if someone came to me and says that I want to help you with the Persian language, I would say, no, I don't need it. Why should I? So this is the part that people stand against the prophet. Why should we need the prophet? We have our brain. We are creating, we are discovering, been waiting, even many things. Why do we need the prophet? On the other hand, some question, what is it? Is it correct for the human being to be placed completely in the hand of others and accept whatever they say without questioning? Why we say that? Because in Islam, it's taslim, not questioning. The greatest part of Islam is meaning to not question, just accept it and do it. Just correctly. So is it okay that if I just want to follow someone in any path, like I go outside, you come here, without questioning, you start following me? A wise man would say no. Are the prophets not human beings just like we are? According to Quran, you said what? إنما أنا بشر مثلكم يوحى إلي. So you saying the prophet is human? There's nothing beyond being human. It's not an angel. It's not a gene. It's not something strange, weird. It's human. Not a different creation. It's human. So far we have this question: is it okay that we place someone instead of us, not questioning them, and following someone is who like us? How can we agree to place ourselves at the disposal of what another human being says? Is it acceptable to agree with someone and say, whatever you do, whatever you say, I would do it the same? So at the first point, at the first look at you, when you see it, at the glance, you will see that it's not reasonable. It's not making sense. So why should I follow a prophet? For what reasons? So first of all, we should know who is that person for any question. We brought up 3 questions. Should we just follow someone without a question? Is that human? Is it good that we place someone instead of us? So first of all, we need to see who is that person that we're going to follow. You go into a school, any school. Someone says 2 + 2, you have a mathematics teacher. That person teaches you 2 + 2 = 4. Is it okay if I follow that person? Yeah, why not? Because he's an expert in math. Why not? Someone comes to you and say this is made by atoms and molecules. Is it right if I accept it as a, for example, someone who for first time hearing? That'll be okay. Maybe he'll bring it evidence for that. But is it okay if I just accept it? Yeah, because he's the greatest. He's a teacher. He's been studying for example, 20 years. Now he's saying this is made by atom and molecules. I'm going to accept it. I'm going to do some exercises. For example, some martial arts, kung fu, and other martial arts. I'm going to do it. Is it okay if I just listen to my coach, to my trainer? Yeah, because he's an expert. So first of all, you should know who is that person you're speaking of. I'm giving my life to whom? You're going to class, you're going to university, you're going to, I don't know, to any sports. Who is that person? Secondly, we should recognize the fact that our knowledge is limited. You have to see it. You have to admit it. The first thing to grow up, to succeed, to achieve something is to accept that you don't have something. You're empty. If you want to have a cup of tea, you have to accept that you don't have the tea right now. If you accept it, then you can just bring a tea to yourself. I have to accept that this, for example, pen is not working. So I can buy a pen for myself to write. First thing is to accept that your limitations, your weaknesses. If you don't have any weakness, if you face the danger, if you face the problem, if you face something greater, you'll fail. So you have to accept your weaknesses. For example, I say I'm not great in Bahasa. If I accept that I'm not great in Bahasa, in Indonesian language, I will seek for studying Bahasa. If I just say, no, I'm all right. My Bahasa, my Indonesian, even language and accent is perfect. Will I go and will I improve my Bahasa? Never. Why? Because I don't believe it. I think I'm the best. If you think that your Persian is perfect, it's 100 out of 100, will you go for studying Persian? You will stop it right now. Who is the Asma'ul Husna? It's only me. I'm the greatest, right? You see, because you see yourself as 100. You don't see your weaknesses. I don't see my weaknesses. When I say, okay, terima kasih, and I don't know, some other words in Bahasa, it's enough for me, I would never be able to speak in Bahasa. But when I see that I have the weakness, I have the problem, there is something empty in me, I will seek for something to put it inside. So secondly is to admit that your knowledge is limited. And thirdly, no one says that a human being should place themselves completely at the disposal of another person. Who said it? And who said that we should just relay that on some people and say that's enough for us? We have a wisdom. How the Quran got his acceptableness from where? How did it got? How the Quran become a greatest holy book in Islam? By our wisdom. Because firstly, the Quran came and said, I'm a miracle. We just look at it and said, yes, this is a miracle. Then we accept it. Even the prophets will be accepted by our wisdom. It's not something like we're not animals. Or we're not the prophet that the wahy comes to us. We accept it by our brain, by our wisdom. Okay. So another thing is the need of teaching. If we ride upon a fantastic and fairy tale-like horse, which is built of rays of light, in every second we travel 300,000 kilometers. Just imagining. There is a horse that builds it goes with the light speed. We just cross 300,000 kilometers each second. In the shoreless space. Undoubtedly, we will need to have thousands of lifetimes of the Prophet Noah just to see a small part of this extensive universe. They discovered that there are, like, for example, 10 galaxies. Next year, they will discover it's 20 galaxies. Is it going to be 10,000 galaxies? Who knows? Maybe it will be 10,000 galaxies. What do we have discovered so far? Even not the moon. So how we can discover all the world? Even we haven't discovered the deep oceans. No one could go down. How we can discover other things? This is just an example. I don't mean that Prophet came here to speak about the universe. I want to say how the knowledge is great and we need someone to tell us. As a kid, I need a teacher. Why should I just discover the mathematics, the physics, I don't know, all other studies by myself? I don't need it. I can just ask from an expert, from a teacher. I have a question about physics. Why should I just waste my time of looking and just finding what is the answer? I can ask him, for example. He's looking for Persian, to learn about Persian. He can ask me. I need Bahasa, I can ask you. I don't need to waste my time to discover it by myself. It takes a long time. We don't have that much time to discover everything by ourselves. And you'll see that human wisdom's brain couldn't understand everything because it's limited. How 100 years ago, nobody could believe that there will be a cell phone. Like 500 years ago, 600 years ago, 700 years ago, nobody could believe there will be aeroplane. Nobody could believe there will be a camera for photographing. Nobody could believe there will be a car. This is the human's brain, the wisdom. Cannot understand something comes in the future and has a limited of knowledge. Before that, we go through that. I would like to. There is a book. Let me find what it was. I'll just let you know that what is the book title. I forgot it right now. There's a debate between a pagan and I think Imam Reza. Let me be sure. I just wrote it here. This is one of the wonderful stories that I have ever seen in my life. And Imam Sadiq. The book name is Tawhid Ahlil Je. Tawhid Ahlil Je. It's a debate between Imam Sadiq and an Indian doctor. This is one of wonderful books that I will see that do we have it in another language or not. But it's like a debate Imam Sadiq did with a pagan doctor from India, Tawhid Ahlil Je. The doctors came to the Imam Sadiq and asked some question. Imam Sadiq was answering that question. He did not accept all what Imam Sadiq says. After that, Imam Sadiq just stopped debating him. That doctor started to make a medicine, like mixing some other planet with the other planets. It's a long book. I just want to make it short, very short. So it's a very long book. You can just read it by yourself. Just to sum up it, it's just he was making some medicine by mixing some planets. Imam Sadiq told him, I want to tell you something. You're mixing some planets. He said, yes. He said, where did you get that? That if you make and mix this planet, that you can heal someone. He said, from my father. Imam Sadiq asked, where did your father find this? He said, from our great-great-fathers. He said, okay. You said from your great-great-fathers. This planet is from, I'm not really sure about the time. You can just see it, the place and the time. It is specific in the book. This planet is in Afghanistan. This planet is in Armenia that you're mixing. And this planet is in Azerbaijan. And this planet is in Iran. You are from India. To traveling these countries, how long does it take? That you said of great your father from a master learned that. How that master got this? That if you should travel all these countries. Where did he got this idea that he should travel these countries to find this planet? Okay, traveling these countries, how did you find that if you just mix this planet with this planet, it will be a medicine? For how did you discover that these two can heal this pain? How did you discover that? How long, how much life that you need to discover this? And how did you learn that mixing this, it should be, for example, 1 kilogram or less than that. One in the book is mescal, 1 mescal. Yeah. How did you discover that 1 mescal of this, 1 mescal of that, 1 mescal from Afghanistan, mescal from Iran, Azerbaijan, Armenia? If you mix it, it will be heal that pain. How did you discover that? Even though that, you know, there is war between Afghanistan, Iran, Azerbaijan, Armenia, it was in Imam Sadiq's time, that everyone has a war. How did you discover that this planet, this tree will help you? There are many other trees. How to discover the weight? We discover the way that I should mix it. It's a very long story, just make it short. That doctor was so shocked. He said, I don't know. Because even from that time till now, nobody could discover something like that. It's very difficult. Imam Sadiq says, okay, now it's time to say someone who should know all of this knowledge should tell someone. It will be only possible if God gives that knowledge. The pagan wasn't accepting the God and the Prophet and everything of Islam. He's saying there is no God, he was atheist. Now he saw that it is impossible, the medicine that he's taking will be from a normal human. The knowledge should have come from who? From the God. He said, okay, yeah, you're making sense. You can read this book, it's very interesting. We have many riwayats that even the planets, the animals came to the Prophet Adam and they told them that what is our specifications, what do we have and what can we do? Can we heal something? Can we destroy something? What is it? So a prophet can tell us. Even at that time, there wasn't any technology. How could they know about the medicine, about the iron, about the many other things? They got it from whom? The Prophet. So this was a great story. The book is Tawhid Ahlil Jib. If you can Google to see if it has any English or Bahasa, you can just Bahasa you can ask from downstairs, and English you can just Google it to see if there is. I don't know. Just know the Persian. So I'll write it. I'll tell it to Mr. Eddie, and he will share it with you. And I will send the book, the picture of the book, and if you could find it even on internet or other places. Okay. The another part is the need for leadership in the social and moral areas. So before that, we were just talking about the teaching that we need someone. Even you see in a medicine, we needed someone. We know that within our being, our human being, in addition to knowledge and wisdom, other motives called instincts also exist. The instinct of anger and harshness, the instinct of loss, and multiple other instincts. So we need a teacher to teach us the ethics, the truth of everything, the economy, the medicine, the everything that we needed. We should have someone who teach us. And who's that person? The prophet. In any cases, I need to learn math. How can I learn that? From a great math person. Where can I learn, for example, swimming? From a great trainer who's expert in that. So when we're talking about ethic, who's the greatest person in ethic? The prophet. Who has the knowledge of the God? The prophet. So in every case, you found that you need someone. I told you now, so far we discovered that we need someone. Someone with a great knowledge, someone who's connected to the God, to the Wahi. For what reason? Because of the limited knowledge, because of our needs, and many other things. You saw that even in a medicine, we wasn't anyone, we just nothing. So you'll find out that in any case, we need a prophet. So for this session, we needed to speak about why do we need the prophet. Another session, the next Tuesday, it's not holiday, right? So for the next Tuesday, we're going to talk about the attributes of that prophet. What attributes that prophet should have? What Quran says about that prophet? What riwayats do we have about that prophet? What is his duty? What he should do and what he should not do. So we'll talk about that. So, okay, to sum up everything that we said so far, it's that I hope we found out that we need a prophet. So if you have a doubt, if you have a question about that, we don't need any prophet still now, I'll be glad to hear your question on that. Yeah, I'll be glad to hear that. Any questions?
Yeah, any question? Also, our friend in Zoom also can ask a question or share an opinion by open the mic and also writing in the chat room. Okay, I floor to the participant in this class.
Yeah.
About being patient, the highest level of morality. In Indonesia, there is common phrase, there is a limit of being patient. It's common phrase in Indonesia. What do you think about that? First question. And the second question, in which limit can we be patient about something? Or there is any condition or situation that we should or should not be patient of in particular matters?
I didn't get your first question. What was it?
In which limit we can be patient?
No, the first one. I understand.
What's your opinion about that.
In Indonesia is limited.
Context. There is a limit of being patient. Yes.
The Indonesian people says that there is limit. When we speaking about a culture, or when we want to talk about the morality, ethic, who should say that? Is it only the people, humans like me? You will accept it if I say something, or should it be the prophet or the Ahlul Bayt or someone who is an expert? So we only say there is a limit in being patient. Yeah, that's correct. Sometimes you should not be patient. That's correct. The phrase is correct. For example, I just want to give the high example. Someone is killing someone. Should we be patient and say, okay, kill him? We just want to do our dua and just say la ilaha illallah while he's killing someone else. That's not correct. So there is a limit in being patient. For example, someone is doing something wrong, standing against the God. Is it good to shout on them? Sometimes, yes. But when when they speaking about the limit in the patient, they don't mean this. They usually do not mean that in a specific situation you should not be patient. They bring it in our life. You see that a teacher, for example, said something against you. They will accept it to say something against the teacher. They won't understand that you should be patient. For example, your father said something against you. It's nowadays in Western countries. They would say, okay, this father is not capable to being a father for this kid. So when we're talking about the limit in a patient, when the God allowed us in something to be not being patient, yeah, that'll be acceptable. But in many cases that we have to be patient. Like, for example, we have a story from Ayatollah Ghazi Tabatabai that he never punished his kids. One of his sons said that one time he shouted on us. We were playing games, doing games, making so noises, and we weren't staying in a place. Then Ayatollah Ghazi shouted on us. He said, he went to his room, and I went with my father. I was behind him, and I saw that my father is crying and saying to God, I didn't want to shout on them because of myself. This is the greatest person. That even not, when he's angry of making noises, he's not saying it for himself. This is one that what do we mean by the limit in the patient? Being patient. When we're saying something that was allowed by God, by our wisdom, is acceptable. The wise human beings, the wise people will accept it. Yeah, I think it's acceptable. But when we're saying limit, everyone can bring something to the limit of bring some limitation and being patient. No, that's not acceptable. For the second question, that was like, the question was, what is the limit in the patience?
Yeah, you already answered that.
Yeah, okay.
But is being patient related to the level how pious someone?
What?
Being patient related to level of how pious someone?
Sometimes being patient is our nature. Some people are more patient naturally, but it is not like to say, so it's not inside me. It is by practicing. It is by reminding to yourself that what is good, what is bad. For example, someone believes that, for example, my skin is not good. I would do some plastic surgery. My skin is not good. Why do I say that? Because I see some weaknesses, one problem in myself. I want to solve that problem. So I'm not patient. That's a problem. I have to solve it. It needs a practice. It needs the for example, training on yourself, and you keep reminding yourself the ahadith, the riwayat, praying, reading the Quran, praying, these things, and to achieve the highest one, it depends on you. The greatest one is not achieved by nature. It only depends on human being.
Thank you.
Any other question? You're welcome.
What's the relation to Nubuah about the
To what?
to prophethood
Yeah.
about Red Jafar or White Jafar, the Al Jafar? Do you know
Al
that?
Jabr,
Jafar, Jafar.
Jaf.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, in the Jafar, there's a chapter about the future. Is it really exist or is this just a tale?
It is not tale. Let's say that some of these people that they will talk about that are lying. But we know that. Just get rid of that. But now we want to talk some people that bring about the future. Some of them have some relation to the jinns. Sometimes you can see the future. For example, the weather. With the satellites, they see tomorrow will be raining here in Jakarta. This is not something against the future or something it's like 2 + 2, the future will be 4. Putting some of the things together, you'll find out what's going to happen. For example, as a teacher, you see your students, some of them are studying hard, some of them are studying less, some of them are absolutely doing nothing. You'll find out these people get higher score, these people get lower than them, and that people get 0, for example. For what reason? Because you put some facts together, and you this problem with the fly. You will get answer that this is, for example, the future. The future of that kid will be the score of 100. The future of this kid will be sometimes putting the facts together. Another things, yeah, the genes can help you because sometimes the future is written, but you can change it. It is, we have something, most of things can be changed. We can change it, it's in your hands to change it. But mostly that they can bring the Jaf is putting the facts together. That is not something against the prophethood. It's accepted. Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Someone asked in the Zoom, the name Firza Al-Hadar. Assalamualaikum. I want to ask about patient question. When we left behind in everything, and we have been patient for years, and still nothing is going right in life, what should we do?
Wa alaikum salam to you. And yeah, sometimes it's us that we feel that nothing is going right. But it is to translate what do we mean by being patient. Sometimes it's ignoring everything. No, that's not correct. Being patient is something in our hearts. Like when you ignore everything is going around you. For example, your boss is saying, do this work, hurry up. And you want to be patient at that time. What will happen? You will get exploited, they will fire you. The teacher says, okay, finish your exam and bring it to me. And you say, no, I just want to be patient. You should translate it. Sometimes it's just misunderstanding about the being patient. So make it something wrong to you. People are fighting. It's a war. You want to stay back and just being patient. That's incorrect. But it is in a situation you have to translate being patient. How we can do that? You can see the situation of the prophets and Ahlul Bayt, where they were patient, where they were angry, where they were done something, where they were hurry. You can find that in these ways. Being patient is just, if I want to make more specific for right now, it's just not getting angry very quickly. If something happens to you, for example, someone has passed away, do not deny the God. This is one of the ways. Some problems came to you, do not say it's time to commit the suicide. I have to kill myself. Being patient in this situation is to accepting that problem and work for that to solve it. It's not just saying, okay, there is no problem. There is a problem. It's just not being angry, do not deny the God. It's always the patience comes to that way that to say, I see the God in every part of my life. And sometimes it's true that sometimes it goes wrong, but it's the way that we choose it. We took the part to do that. And sometimes we think it is going wrong, but it is not. But when someone sees you from outside, you'll see, oh no, so it's going very well. It is in the perfect way. For example, someone insulted you, say some curse word. When you don't answer that, you feel inside yourself, you say, okay, I was weak. I was very bad. They thought that I'm weak. You come up with these things. But when the other people see that even that person who insulted you, he will say his weaknesses. They will say, oh, how was that person was great. Like when someone came to Imam Hassan and started to insulting Imam Hassan told him, are you hungry? Do you need anything to eat? Do you need any place? It seems that you are a foreigner. At the first, if you see, you might say, okay, Imam Hassan was not able to respond to say something, to insult him. But when after years, after decades, after many ages, you will see that, oh, that was very great. It was a great response. That person become a Muslim. So it depends on us, depends what we translate the being patient. If we want to talk about being patient and the places that what the Prophet says, what the Ahlul Bayt says, the way they acted, it will be very long, but it is sometimes, yeah, I think I have to stop speaking. Yeah. Any other question? If I wasn't enough, I will speak more.
Are the prophets chosen because they are meant to be chosen by God, or because they could reach a position that other humans couldn't? So prophethood is a gift from God or an achievement?
It is both sides.
Sorry?
It is the both sides. It is also a gift by God to someone, and it is also achievement by them. Like it's called Alam Zar. It was when all human were created. They were the great people, the prophets. They were great people. They accepted the onenesses of the God. They accepted everything that God said, so they become prophets. It is in ourselves that because they are humans as well. But the Prophet of Islam, we have another riwayat of that. They were created, the Prophet was created before everything. The first thing that was created the first creation of the God was the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And after that was the riwayat says the Ahlul Bayt were created after that. The Fatima to Zahra and Amir al-Mu'minin and the other one, Imam Hassan and Imam Hussein. According to riwayat, that says the first creation was the Prophet. He was different. He was praying to God from beginning of the creation till, I don't know, there is no limitation time, until the end. So for the Prophet is different, but the other prophets we have it is gift and it's achievement, both sides.
One other question. Why was the prophet appears in Arab or only around the Middle East region? If the reason is because there is a lot of ignorance in Arab, I think at that time there should have been a lot of ignorance in many places, not only in Arab. For example, in Indonesia or Southeast Asian, there are many tribes living in the forest. Is it possible that a prophet come to them?
Yeah, according to Quran, right now I forgot the ayah. It is said that every nation they have received their own prophets. We had 124,000 prophets, but some of them were in Middle East, not all of them. But every nation, every places that had human being, they had their own prophets. The prophets that we're talking about, the Jesus, the Moses, then our prophets, and the Ulul Azm prophets, they had the book, they become the greatest one, they become famous one. But we also had the prophets also was telling the ethics only. The prophet only helped them to just giving the wahy from the God to help the people. They weren't being very famous, but it's correct, and we have it in the Quran and the all riwayats that every nation they had their own prophets. They were guided by the prophets. God never, what it says, God never let any nation to be profitless. Yeah, this is what happened to all nations. They always had the prophet. It is called, and also until now, the all nations should have the hujjat. Yeah, not prophet, the hujjat, not the prophet. Prophet is ended. Yeah, every nation needs a guidance. Every nation needs someone as a leader. So always God will send a leader to you. Sometimes it's called in the past prophet, and after that, like Ahlul Bayt, the greatest, they will end with Imam Zaman. When Imam Zaman's time will be ended, will be the Qiyamah. So yeah, to be clear, the prophet is ended by the prophet of Islam. It's not continuing. There is no prophet right now. Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah.
We have the situation or when I read some book here, I have the little bit question about the revolution of Islamic Republic of Iran, this transformation about the spiritualism. For example, here the Imam Khomeini transfer to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Ahlul Bayt sallallahu alaihi. But my question is, if we come back to here, the need for leadership. My question is, how mechanism to leadership inside to we need the teacher for ethics. How we can combine about the spiritualism, ethic, and the morality in the same time.
The leadership that we talked is the leadership of the prophet, and the leadership we talk about in the Iranian supreme leader is completely different. It's something just like completely different. It's nothing the same. So when we're talking about the leadership of the prophet, we're talking about everything, bringing something new to you. When we're talking about the leadership of, for example, a school leadership in a school, is someone who is bringing everyone united to managing. It's managing. Also in Iran or other countries, the leaders will managing the things that's happening in the country, bringing the all nations together. For example, if you imagine the Indonesia doesn't have a president, there is no one leader in Indonesia, what would be happen? Everyone would say, we want our rules, we want something. It will be a chaos. So a leader, always we have to have a leader. Sometimes in our managing even in the school, even in a family, we need a leader. For example, a father can be a leader, a mother can be a leader. But the leadership of the prophet is the greatest one, bringing something new, managing the nations, and it will speak about everything, including the morality, including the monotheism, speaking about the ethics, speaking about all other things,
Oh,
metaphysics and also the physics, everything I'm going to be speaking about. So it's this difference in between the leadership of these two.
okay.
And the leadership of the prophet that we talked about is bringing something new that we don't know it.
Um,
Okay, so what is your question now?
yeah,
Is it
yeah. The answer is nice for me because the question. Okay, okay.
no? If you just have the question,
Yeah, I have this
yeah.
some question, but because I'm really interested in the wilayatul faqih because sometimes the wilayatul faqih is very nice and very. I think his transformation the Islamic.
About the
Yeah.
Velayatul Faqih, I will talk
Yeah, yeah.
about it later, maybe
Yeah, yeah.
time that
Include in here.
Mm, it is not like something like this. It is very complicated. I will talk about that later.
Okay, thank you.
Maybe later if we were alive.
There is one question, but if you want to bring this question for the next week, it's okay. But if you want to ask answer right now, it's okay.
Let's see what was the question. If it's long question, we'll put it for next week.
Yeah, it is. I can. What is from Ummah Abina? What is the real meaning of passion itself related to handling people which having a blocking mind? To be reminded of the best the Ahlul Bait attitude in social community. Somehow each person in near environment claim as a good Ahlul Bait follower, but the fact they're not.
Okay, that's a very good question. We'll put it for next. No, can you take a photo?
I will. I can.
Yeah.
Not.
So who said that?
Ummu Abina.
Ummah Abina.
Ummah Abina. Yeah.
Ummah Abina. Thank you for your question, but that question I think will take more than 5 minutes. I'm pretty sure, and because we are already in 6:15. I'll talk about that in Islamic lifestyle for Thursday. Tomorrow, not tomorrow, Thursday. So I'll have your question, keep it, and please bring it up in Thursday. I will answer that 100% in beginning of the class. The first will be answering your question, then we'll continue our topic. But thank you, and I'm really sorry for not answering the question because of our limitation, our time, and because it's the praying time. But thank you for everyone that attending this class, and wish you all the best, and hope you do not forget me in your prayers. Thank you very much. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Week.
Yeah, thank you.